Good morning to all the respected dignitaries present for the webinar. I, Dr. Amit Prabhu, the organizing secretary, I welcome you all for the webinar. We'll be starting the webinar with the college song. सत्य शिवा गुण सुंदर है, सत्य शिवा गुण सुंदर है, सत्य शिवा गुण सुंदर है, सत्य शिवा गुण सुंदर है। मोती होती कामाचे, इथे बोलना दामाचे मोती हो। Hello, am I audible? I have.
Yes, you're audible.
Hello. Yes. Good morning to all. We'll be starting with the inauguration ceremony now. I would like to share that the webinar what we have organized today and tomorrow, we are commemorating three things. One is the 75th anniversary of India celebrating its independence. The second thing what we are is everybody would know that today is the World International Women's Day. So we are celebrating that also. And I would like to share that we do not only propagate gender equality, but at the same time we are following the same in the college and everywhere in the society. The third thing is our mother institute, that is Maharashtriya Mandal. We are completing 100 years of establishment. Our main Captain Shivrampant Tamle, he had established this Maharashtriya Mandal in 1920. Celebrating these 100 years in 2024. The 2 days program that is going to be there, I would like to give you the roadmap of the program. It's going to be the first day, there are going to be two resource persons speaking. The first one is Mr. Siddharth Deshmukh. He is already there. He would be speaking on overview of sports management. He'll be sharing a lot of his experiences related to sport management. The second speaker is Mr. Ruturaj Stelkar, and he would be speaking on organization of competition and events. The third, the second day, we are going to be having another two speakers. One is Professor Dr. Naina Nimkar. She'll be speaking on careers and future of sports management. And the second lecture is going to be by Dr. Ashish Fulkar from LNIP Gwalior. He will be speaking on sports marketing and sports law. After this, there is going to be a technical session and it would be around 1:30 p.m. On day 2. There will be a few research scholars who will be presenting their researches. Now I would like Dr. Yogesh to review about our college. Thank you.
Thank you, Amisa. So it's a moment for me to introduce our Maharashtriya Mandal and Chandrashekhar Agashe College of Physical Education to all the participants and dignitaries. This institution, that is Chandrashekhar Agashe College of Physical Education, is the basis of sports, physical education and sports. And this is the legendary person who actually established Maharashtriya Mandal, to which this Chandrashekhar Agashe College of Physical Education is affiliated. So Captain Shivrampant Tamle established this Maharashtriya Mandal in 1924. Maharashtriya Mandal basically works in three different fields, that is education, health and fitness, and sports. Coming to the college, Chandrashekhar Agashe College of Physical Education is established in July 1977. Shiva Kaka, that is late Captain Shivrampant Tamle, he wanted this college to be established in 1932, but it almost took him for 32 years to actually run this college. And finally, in 1977, the college started the first course, that is Bachelor's in Physical Education. Later on in 1984, college started the second course, that is Masters in Physical Education, and in 1993, college started two new courses, that is MPhil and PhD in Physical Education. Coming to the latest trends now, along with the physical education courses, bachelor's and master's degree, college has started many add-on courses such as yoga instructor, sports nutrition, gym instructor, aerobics instructor, genetic instructor, outdoor fitness, skating, physical literacy, sports psychology, sports journalism, sports law, sports analytics, and few more courses we are going to launch very soon. And we are very proud that our students are getting exposed to so many fields which are right now boom in the market. So college is always education and sports. So few main courses that I would like to throw a light on the program that really are distinguished from the distinct from the other colleges, that is the STRIVE program, in which we introduce many topics related to the physical education and sports to our students. And this program we run on every Saturday. So along with the regular syllabus, we try to introduce new concepts to our students, and most of the time we try to give them hands-on practicals on this. Placement is one of the great achievement of a college, I would say, because most of the time, 90 students out of 100 get placed almost either in schools, colleges, or in the clubs. So we have a very good placement ratio. Mentoring. Mentoring is a very good practice that our college runs. Again, I would like to give two important aspects of. And every faculty insists on using different methodology of teaching, not only in the classroom teaching, but also use variety of teaching methods for the ground practicals as well. Yes, of course, during the evaluation time, we all are very keen to use a variety of evaluation tools, and especially the authentic assessment tools we use very handily. So the students are evaluated in variety of forms, and definitely we are very proud to say that our students evaluation is done very accurately. We have very strong internship and intramural program where a student actually gets hands-on practical and the detailed experience about the physical education and sports. Coming to the next thing, that is the faculty, which is actually the backbone of the institution. So I'm very proud to say that all the faculty from the Chandrashekhar Agashe College of Physical Education, they are really well qualified, experienced, and dedicated towards their work. If you see, out of 12 faculties, 10 have completed their PhD work, PhD degree, and 9 out of them are right now currently the research guide from Savitribai Phule Pune University. So coming to the infrastructure, college has a huge campus of 32 acres and having variety of sports facilities, including athletic track, skating, tennis, football, gymnastics hall, badminton hall, cricket, and so many. Not only this, but also for the practice, this college has variety of grounds where our students actually takes the practical knowledge. We have ample of space for the classrooms, library, and variety of activities as well. Along with the regular syllabus, we have some other things also running in the colleges as a best practice. That is one of the best practice we are running is Gatiman magazine. This is a periodical that we are actually publishing articles and posts related to the physical education and sports in this periodical. Second thing that is organization of stress. This is the unique fitness competition that we organize every year, and almost 80 to 90 schools participate in this, and 20 to 30 colleges participate in this. This is a very huge event that we conduct based on the fitness, and it includes all the fitness activities related to adventure, severe endurance, sprint, and everything. Along with this, also we have recently we have started our first research journal, that is Josh PE, Journal of Journal of Sports Health and Physical Education, and this is the third issue recently that will be coming up. So soon we will be having ISSN number as well, and we'll be applying for research UGC care as well. So with this, I'll take your leave and I'll hand over this to.
Thank you, Yogesh sir. Now I would request Dr. Kangne, our principal, to kindly inaugurate the webinar.
नमस्कार, सबको प्रणाम। आज का जो वेबिनार महाराष्ट्र मंडल के चंद्रशेखर आगाशे
डॉक्टर कांगणे,
हाँ सर, हेलो अमित, आवाज येतोय?
येस सर,
दिसतोय ना मी?
येस सर, वी कैन हियर यू।
ओके ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
यस सर।
महाराष्ट्र मंडल एंड चंद्रशेखर आगाशे कॉलेज की ओर से मैं आप सबका तहे दिल से स्वागत करता हूं, और आजादी का जो रौप्य महोत्सव हम मना रहे हैं, अमृत महोत्सव मना रहे हैं, उसके लिए भी आपको शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। विश्व महिला दिन की भी आप सबको बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं। आज का जो सेमिनार हम ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं, इस मुताबिक मैं आपको दो मुद्दे के ओर आपका ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहता हूं। पहला मुद्दा है कि प्रकृति, हर एथलीट का, उसके पेरेंट का, ऑफिशियल का, हर एक का अपना प्रकृति होता है। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि ये प्रकृति के अनुसार वो व्यक्ति का अगर हम व्यवस्थापन कर पाते हैं तो अच्छी कृति हो सकती है। अगर प्रकृति अनुसार हम उसका व्यवस्थापन नहीं करेंगे तो कृति नहीं होगी, कृति नहीं होगी तो हमारी प्रगति शायद नहीं हो सकती। इसलिए मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हमें एथलीट के प्रकृति का व्यवस्थापन करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है। और दूसरा मुद्दा मैं आपके सामने रखना चाहता हूं, जो कि लय, रिदम। हर एथलीट का, हर क्रीड़ापटु का एक लय होता है, रिदम होता है, गति होती है। अगर हम उसकी गति व्यवस्थापित कर पाते हैं तो प्रगति की ओर हम निश्चित जा सकते हैं। मुझे आशा है कि ये 2 दिन का जो अपना सेमिनार है वो निश्चित स्वरूप से प्रकृति और गति के मुद्दों पर ध्यान देगा, और हमारे स्पोर्ट्स की प्रकृति के अनुसार हम हमारी प्रगति कर पाएंगे। आज के ये सेमिनार का उद्घाटन हुआ, ऐसा मैं डिक्लेयर करता हूँ। जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र। थैंक यू डॉक्टर अमित।
Thank you, Kangne sir. Now we'll be starting with our first session. We will be starting with our first session now. I would request Dr. Shirish More to kindly introduce the guest.
A very good morning to all. Mr. Siddharth Deshmukh sir, an ITN turned into a sports professional. He has been an inspiration to all who belong to sports fraternity because of his dear fashion. commitment, and love about the sports development. He completed his graduation in Bachelor of Computer Science, MBA from Pune University, and completed Diploma in Strategic Planning and Business Policies from IIT Bombay. But his professional skill sets in sports tech business, sports commerce, media and content partnership, fan engagement, athlete management, sustainability, and CSR in sports more made him a thoroughly professional in the field of sports industry. 18 plus years of progressive and diverse experience across early stage startup to Fortune 500 companies in US, Europe, and Asia, having worked across banking, healthcare, consumer electronics, media, and consumer internet and sports. After spending over a decade across the globe in IT, consulting for the companies to build brand and get partners to outsource, founded Arimaya Management Ventures with a vision to provide management consulting with a twist, assisting sports and technology companies with sports entertainment consulting and brand management. A former state level badminton player, a movie buff, and scuba diving enthusiast, a speaker at various sports and entrepreneurship events and conferences, passionate for grassroots development and working for uplifting of society using sports development and education. His professional experience in sports industry, as he is a founder and managing partner, Arimaya Venture, which looks after sports tech startups, sports commercialization, sports marketing, sports advisory, brand consulting, sports development, and sports CSR, fan engagement, and connected sports arena at NBA. Celebrity management likes of MS Dhoni, Aditi Chauhan, Ankita Raina, and Mansi Joshi. Yeah, sports and Make India Play initiative to share about the importance of sports education in athlete development at UNESCO, Geneva in March 2019. Sports development and CSR for sustainability. He also associated as a commercial director, South Asia Brand Active. Also with business head, APAC and me, heading a Middle East, Asia and Australia, New Zealand region for top fan management platform. Principal consultant, partnership South Asia, Genius Sports, heading South Asia region, assisting federations, leagues use innovative and data-driven solution to sports, media and regulated betting markets. CEO Khel Now, India's largest platform, football content platform and sports marketing through football. He also is was associated with business head, sports and entertainment, Riti Sports, managing commercial interest of MS Dhoni, CSK IPL. He is a sports CSR consultant for multiple sport foundations for sustainability through sports. He is also associated with faculty and mentor sports industry, Symbiosis School of Sports Sciences. He also closely worked with leaders like Mr. Anand Deshpande, founder and CEO, Persistence System Limited, CP Gurnani, CEO and MD, Tech Mahindra Limited, Navneet Sharma, ex-IMG and sports marketing consultant, and most importantly with Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Who else could be a better speaker for today's conference theme, Management of Sports? I warmly welcome you, sir. We all are eagerly waiting to listen to you for the keynote address on overview of sports management. Over to you, Deshmukh sir. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's overwhelming to hear your own accolades from somebody, and I'm sitting in front
Am I
of.
audible, Deshmukh sir?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So firstly, thank you all for inviting me here, and thank you, sir, for giving such a long my bio. And all in all, sir, whatever you say, my life is about sports. It is about whatever I earn is in sports, whatever I spend is in sports. So that is what that's what I do. And thank you for having me here. Wishing all of you a very happy International Women's Day. And it's a great day to start a nice session for a couple of days. I think I was supposed to speak tomorrow, and Dr. Nimkar was supposed to speak today. We just swapped and our chat, and I think whatever I cover here, she will be talking more towards education side, but I will be talking about what sports industry is all about and what kind of options are there in sports management for anybody to make a career out of it. So okay, I have the sharing. I'll just share 2 slides and I will just talk about it. And I want you to visually understand what I'm trying to say so that it will be easier for a proper reference. So, okay, Sportsy, that's my brand. Let's talk sports. And that's what I go with. For me, anything and everything is about talking about sports. It revolves around sports education, sports commercialization, sports development, sustainability in sports, and technology in sports, anything and everything that you bring about sports, because finally sports builds character and everybody here is associated with sports somewhere or other. And it's great to talk to a platform where people understand what sports is all about. So I'll just say that I have put something on the sorry, I'll put something in the chat window here. Please go, and I have my own YouTube channel called Sportsy, where we do a lot of work with multiple fields of sports, in interviewing athletes, coaches, business owners, educationists, and a lot of people. So let me just yeah. So I have just put something in the chat window. So do see that, and hope you subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the content that it has to offer from Sportsy, because I do it completely out of my passion. I do it completely to spread the awareness about what sports industry is, and it is the best way for us to take it to people about this amazing industry. So firstly, as I said, happy Women's Day, and it is a great day. Honestly speaking, if you look at all the history of India at Olympics, we always talk about it, right? The women are the one who have got maximum medals for India, and it has to be celebrated, it has to be decorated. And but my always thing is not about one day; it is 365 days. It is not how it's not, as we say, Olympic is not every 4 years. Olympic has to be every day, every hour. The same way, it is something that we clap for one Hima Das, but we also need to know and understand the reason that why 100 other girls could not become Hima Das. We clap for one PV Sindhu, but why other 100 girls could not become PV Sindhu or better? So we need to understand that, be mindful about the situation, talk about it, not only talk about it, actually work on it as well. So wishing you all a very happy Women's Day for empowering, mindful, and conscious living with amazing women around us. I don't have to talk about much here because everybody is associated sports industry, but I always start my session or whatever I'm talking with one single thing. What is sports? Sports is the competitive physical activity of game. It is governed by some set of rules which serves a fair competition and gets basically there are winners and there are not winners. I don't like to call losers. So there are winners and there are probably learners. People who don't win, they learn and come back stronger. So that is sports. Sports brings character. Sports brings ecosystem. Sports brings it's, as Nelson Mandela famously said, right? It is sports is the only thing that the world understand, the youth understand, the same language that everybody understand. I think this is what the beauty of sport is. And that sir gave an introduction about me, but what got me into sport is I've been an athlete, but I had a bad shoulder injury. I could not go beyond state level in badminton. Then being a 90s kid, I think a computer was the option, only option. I did my computer engineering. Then I said, okay, I can't understand what coding is all about. So thought of moving to business side of it. So I did my, I have actually done my 3 different MBAs. I am an MBA IT from University of Pune. I'm an MBA HR from SIBM. I have done my sports management postgrad diploma. as well. I'm also the corporate strategy business policy from IIT Mumbai. And why I'm doing all these things is basically for me to discover myself in the whole journey. And every time something new happened to me, and I'm not what happened to me on field is exactly something happening to me in my corporate life as well. I want more. I'm hungry for more. You can't put me in one single bucket and ask me to do something, continue to do something. So that is not me. And while I was in the US, I was training for my duathlons and that's where I actually saw the whole American college model, the NCAA sports model. And the thought came to my mind, why can't we have something like this in India? We have national games, we have SAI and everything. But why can't we have something like a proper body who will take care of the development? The pyramid has to be built. And for me, the sports is all about the pyramid. Elite sport brings you money. Elite sports gets you glamour. And believe me, I think I have done the pinnacle of glamour handling by working with MS Dhoni for the last 5 years. So for me, there is nothing beyond glamour, beyond managing MS Dhoni or working with MS Dhoni. But what I understood in last 8-9 years of my journey in sports industry is the pyramid that has to manage. The grassroots has to be the biggest sector. After that, we come to the basically grassroots and participative, then the competitive, then the amateur, and then we're talking about elite. So that pyramid has to be built, and that is what the work we have to do. Why are we talking about China being so many medals, or Australia, or sporting culture? Is I'll give you some numbers, right? It is, we are talking about the youngest country in the world. We have 400 million kids under the age of 18, and the average time a kid plays per week in India is 40 minutes. And average time a kid in Western world or Australia plays is 13 hours a week. You can understand where 40 minutes is and what 13 hours is. Even if we try to bridge the gap, I don't know how many years or how many decades that we don't need to bridge this gap. And that was the reason where the Making India Play was the initiative by CII and Star Sports came out, and we actually worked on the whole process of Making India Play, where the new education policy got sports as 1 hour in the school. So that means at least the kids are playing for 1 hour every day. That means 5 hours a week, at least, if not 15 hours. At least the CBSE got that pattern in any which was the new education policy 2020. Unfortunately, the schools have not opened and everything is went for a toss after that. But I think this will continue, and we will get kids to play at least 5 hours a week, and then the weekend they play extra. So at least we can have our average going up more and more. So the disparity is so big, that means there is opportunity. If there is a problem, there is opportunity. And that's what the sports management as a field brings you, the opportunity. Sports management is managing sports, making sports happen, making sports a culture, bringing money to sports, earning money from sports, making that athlete sustainable, making that academy sustainable, making that coach sustainable. Everything about sports has to be sustainable. The moment there is a sustainability, there is a business to be made. People don't understand a particular industry because paise kahan hai, money nahi hai. But the money will attract money. We have to make sure that people who have money are coming in with the right intent, and we get something out of it. And that's where the CSR is useful. So I'll go through that thing, but I just want to set the context about what sports industry is all about and why I came to sports industry, and what brings me to do more and more work in the sports industry. And that's why I wanted to set a stage for these 4 things: commercialization of sports, development of and through sports, education in sports, and sustainability of and through sports. These are the 4 most important aspects of the sports industry. And for anybody to make a career out of it, or to understand what sports management is all about, these are the most important aspects. What is commercialization of sports? Commercialization of sports is getting money to sports. You're talking about IPL, ISL. There are 14 leagues happening in India. There are if not at a league level, there are academies running. So there are coaches who are training 10 kids, 15 kids, 30 kids, 80 kids, 100 kids. That means the money is coming to sports. But at the same time, it's not charity. we have to make sure the model is we are actually upping the bar every time, so that we can actually go to higher level from our deliverables in sports, that people start paying more to sport. You get visibility to sports. Marketing of sport and marketing through sports are two most important aspects that people need to understand. That by you're talking about, if you get associated with an academy who has 100 kids, that means you are reaching 100 households. That means you are reaching at least average 300 people with your branding minimum. And when a kid does something, the parents are going to be more happy about it and spread it across to more and more people around it. So that means we are talking about a way to make a community driven sports industry where people start getting associated with. So commercialization of sports is something that everybody has to understand. It is something, it's a must for anybody and everybody who is part of this amazing industry. We are talking about almost 95 people, except other than me, the 95 people on the call, on this thing. And everybody has a network of at least average 20 people that you have. You're talking about 1,000 people who can be influenced through what we're talking about. So understand importance of bringing money to sports. Because the more you bring money to sport, the athlete will be sufficient, the coaches will be sufficient. The moment coach and athlete are taken care of, the whole ecosystem of sports will be sustainable and will be taken care of properly. So that is what commercial sports is. Development of and development through sports. We have to understand another important aspect of, and I've used the logo of Khelo India because yes, national games were there, but Khelo India actually made a mark. Khelo India youth game, university games, school games actually put a nice picture in front of everybody. So development of sport is important and development through sports is important. So when we say development through sports, we're talking about the infrastructure getting developed. We're talking about the whole ecosystem getting developed. We are talking about the kids getting developed. We're talking about the community getting developed. We're talking about the coaches making money out of it. At any given time, we're talking about having 10,000 coaches, dearth of 10,000 coaches in India right now for across sport. Can we have development through sports of having more and more coaches? So your college like Agashe, who is so amazing with physical education, but are we giving a right agility to the course to make them efficient, really good coaches, and understand, align that with technology side of it and actually take it to next level? So, or are we still stuck in the physical education background where it's a foundation? I understand the physical education is the foundation, very important foundation, but we need to understand, are we going one level beyond that? Can we start making them specialized? Can we start getting important technology? Can we start talking about some management part and telling them about how, because people don't understand the management side of it, and that's where they fail to bring money. Understand everything is driven by money because there are no free lunches. So when we know that money is what people go to attract the sustainability, then we have to make that as a habit in our head that, okay, how do we do that? How do we make it happen? So development through sports is the community, the ecosystem, everything. But development of sport is something very important. We have to understand that India has 29 states, if I'm not wrong. My geography is a little bad, but yeah, 29 states and 6-7 union territories. So we have, even if we talk about 35 identities in India, can we not look at one state adopting one sport, Olympic sport, and developing to the best of its ability? Can Andhra Pradesh do badminton? Can Maharashtra do kabaddi and shooting or archery? Can Jharkhand be for boxing, or Northeast for football and boxing or archery? Can Haryana be a setup for Haryana, and Tamil Nadu can have the athletics? And I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying that these are the only pockets, they're everywhere. But instead of reinventing the wheel, like for at every place, how about we look at like what Odisha has done? They have adopted hockey. Hockey is supposed to be that everybody calls it a national game, which is a debatable thing. But yeah, it was dying. It has got hockey got India the biggest glory. And the game was dying. Nobody was there. But Odisha government, the Patnai government actually took over the whole thing. And actually they are the one who are supporting and reinvented the hockey. And we saw Indian hockey team winning the Olympic medal after so many years. The women's team was missed it by just a flicker. What kind of thing? Then Bhubaneswar having the high performance center managed by Reliance and at Kalinga stadium and everything. So one state can do it. Why can't all the states start looking at sports as as a model of sustainability? Why can't they look at adopting one sport? We've been having really good badminton players. Why can't Pune or Maharashtra adopt badminton as a sport and grow it where we say we have 100 players ready for any given time at that level. I'm not talking about 100 people right now. Also, we'll have 1,000 people. Yes, badminton is the second largest played sport in India after cricket. But we are talking about at that level. So development of sport is important, and for that the mindset is required. Everybody is coming to the cities. Everybody wants to be in tier 1 city, tier 2 city for the different kind of living. But there's so much of work to be done at the rural area or the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and there's a lot of business to be made as well. Imagine there is space available. You go there, set up an academy. If you are a coach, you go and set up an academy. Even if you charge nominal 500,000 rupees, you will start making money. You become an entrepreneur yourself. You start understanding. You follow that compassion and passion about sports to the kids who need it, and make a business out of it. Take those kids to next level, take them for tournament to the city level and all those things. So I'm saying there's a business to be made. It's not, the livelihood is not only in the cities. It's more, if you look at the sports development model, it is, you will actually end up making more money and having more good life if you go to tier 2, tier 3 or the rural area. That is what development of sport is. Third sector is education in sport. Agashe is doing education in sport. Symbiosis MBA is doing education in sport. But I'm talking about not education in sport like MBA or physical education or BBA and all those courses. I'm talking about educating people about sports. So my channel, Sportsy, it's on YouTube. Please go and visit Sportsy Says. I have done around 115 episodes. Today is my Women's Day special episode, will be coming out today as well, with a Padma Shri lady and amazing girl. And I have done so many interviews of people. I'm talking, what I'm trying to do there, I'm educating people about sports. I'm giving a platform. So my channel, I got to get Abhiti Ari Chauhan to Mansi Joshi to Ankita Raina to Mithali Raj to Deepa Malik, Dr. Deepa Malik. Who's who of the industry has come on my platform. Listen to them about their life story. Listen to them about what they have to talk about the Indian sports industry. Listen to them about what they're talking about. I also got Abia Haidar, who is Pakistan's football captain. She came and spoke about how football is, or sport is perceived in place like Pakistan and how it is going. So sports basically is boundaryless. Sports goes everywhere. So I have had opportunity to host people from the US, from UK, from Pakistan, from India, from Malaysia, everywhere. What I'm trying to do there is I'm educating through sports. Or educating about sport. Because if sports can be made aspirational, inspirational, motivational, people, the kids will get aim out of it. That is what we want to spread. Why do you think people want to play badminton or cricket? Because they're the only two places where India had produced amazing visibility. PV Sindhu, Sania Nehwal. We're talking about Gopi Chand. We're talking about Padukone sir. In cricket, we know the history, but football is so good. But we're still talking about Bhaijung Bhutia and Sunil Chhetri. We are not talking about new generation. Tennis is good, but we are still talking about Bhupati and Pace and Sania Mirza. But we're not talking about next generation. Athletics. We never spoke about athletics till Neeraj Chopra got the gold medal, or our performance in Asian was so good that Hima Das and everybody said it'll come up. But the thing is, we are talking about them every 4 years. We are not talking about them every day, and that is the problem. That kids or the parents are not understanding there is an opportunity, there is a career to be made in sports across, beyond cricket as well, or beyond badminton as well, or beyond football as well. So career has to be made in sport, and for that, sports education, educating about sport is something important. I have taken it personally to do that, because if I had this kind of knowledge or information about sports industry 20 years back in my college days or my school days, probably the story would have been a little different for me, and I wouldn't have probably wasted 10 years in IT industry. I would have been in the sports industry from day one and made a different mark. made an impact to the youngest country in the world, where 65% of the population under the age of 35. So we are talking about sports. We are talking about competitive sport to recreational sport. It's a huge business for everybody. Every coach or every person associated with sports here, don't only look at the grassroots level, look at the recreational part of it. It's huge. We are talking about 30,000 people running marathons in one single marathon. We're talking about lakhs and lakhs of people running marathons every year. Cycling has gone so up, so great in India. We have got Ironman here. We're talking about recreation. So people are not only going and playing badminton because they want to be India #1, but they are playing because fitness. So there is a requirement for everything. So we have to educate people about sports. And it's my humble request to everybody. I have shared the link in the chat. Please go and see my YouTube channel or whatever work I'm doing on Insta, Facebook, and everything. Please subscribe to the channel. Please see what you have. I think it will be a lot of information that you can share with people, because it's not every day that we get to hear from Deepa Malik or Abhinav Bindra or Sharad Kamal or Aditi Chauhan or Ankita Raina, Mithali Raj. And what information I got here is something that I carved out from them, because I understand what people want to know, what people want to see, and that's what my intention was. That's why I went to the interview mode rather than they just talking about it someday. So education in sports is something I'm very passionate about. I'm associated with MBA Sports Management Symposium from day one as a founding member, assisting Dr. Nimkar in the whole journey, and I'm passionate about it. So it has to give back. It's a small industry. We're talking about around 50,000 people working in the sports industry across India. And we're talking about few lakh people working in one company like Infosys or TCS. So you can understand that the growth that we have in the sports industry, the journey of sports is so amazing because it's a sunrise industry. How many people actually got to work in a sunrise industry, the industry that we can grow with? So that is the beauty of sports industry we have. And the fourth topic, which is very close to me, is sustainability of and through sports. Sports has to be made sustainable. It's not that 1 year I do good and then I don't know what to do and I close down. Unfortunate situation of most of the academies or the clubs in India, that they start with a bang and then they don't know how to go about it. Imagine the situation. We can study the situation of Pune football. Not a single professional club working through football in Pune. Pune FC closed down. FC Pune City closed down. Bharat FC closed down. DSK Shivaji closed down. Anything and everything has happened in Pune at the football level. Pune has got amazing football talent, but it has closed down. I myself have my own football club called Rising Pune FC. It's only for youth. I'm not interested in senior team. I'm doing only youth under 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. A girls team, underprivileged kids are playing. So what I'm trying to bring here is I'm trying to build a bottom of the pyramid. I don't want to have a glory out of my club playing for I League or ISL, and I'm completely squeezed on money and not thinking of sport but thinking of money. Here I'm the best feeder. From my club, the students are playing in Reliance Foundation Young Champ, which is India's one of the topmost academy. I have kids playing in Bangalore FC. I have kids playing in multiple other things. We have kids playing in Spain. So we are talking about building a model, which is a feeder model. So sustainability of sport can come through this kind of feeder model. And sustainability through sports that we bring is when we make a coach sustainable. The coach is satisfied or taken care of. He or she will take care of the community around it and spread that joy of sports. So that's why we need to understand the sustainability of and sustainability of through sports. And for this, CSR is the biggest thing. Government of India, we are the only country in the world where CSR is mandatory. 2% of the profit has to come into CSR. Understand, it happens out of compulsion or emotion. Either way, money is good. So we have to understand whom to tap, what to tap, and how much money to ask for. How do we go about it? So anybody here looking for it, do reach out to me. As I shared all my credentials, all my details with you on the chat. We can work through how do we get money into sports? How do we bring CSR into sports? So I'm here for chat. As I say, let's talk sports. Anything and everything about sports is I'm here for. One small snapshot about the industry. This is just a small thing, but what is most important is player. And we have to make sure that the player is taken care of to make sure the sports industry is good. And for that, the management, every other block around that player is the management of it. Even the coaching is management. Ravi Shastri was not a coach. He was a technical director. He was a manager of the whole team. So we are talking about building that ecosystem around it. some of the things which are on the commercial side in sport. If you want to just understand the commercial aspect, how IPL, ISL, these kind of club work. So center, we have a league, say IPL. There are fans who is buying tickets. There are fans who are playing to media. There are fans who are buying merchandising. The media is earning money from fans and the brands who are advertising. Like Tata is paying to media. I'm paying to Star Sports to get it. But media is paying to the leagues to acquire the rights. The league is paying to the clubs to make the club thing happen. Club is earning money from fans. Club is earning money from the brands. And club is earning money from transferring their own players. And the players are earning money from the salaries from the clubs, and they are earning money from the brand. So all in all, this one picture will give you the complete clarity of commercial opportunities of sports in India. So we can fit into anything. So if you talk about academy, it will be part of club. If you talk about club, it's a part of league. If you talk about social media and the marketing platform, like what I have as Sportsy, it's media. I have my subscribers, I have my fans, I have my brands associating, and I'm trying to give visibility to athletes. So this is all in all the commercial side of sports. And I always talk about commercial because the moment we understand what commercial side of sports is, the education, sustainability, and development will be taken care of on its own. This was pre-COVID statistics. It has changed a bit. When I say change a bit, it just pushed out by a couple of more years. But we are talking about sports tech is the biggest thing. New is the best thing that is happening because and it's still the best thing because people are sitting at home and watching the sport. The sport has stopped. It's happening behind the closed door. All those things happening. The technology has played a big role. Sports development of infrastructure is the requirement. Media broadcasting is huge. Equipment manufacturing is coming up. We used to have only Adidas, Nike, Reebok, or Shiv Naresh or Champion kind of thing. But now we have 6x6, we have Omtex, we have so many other players who are there. Sports education is a perfect mix of education and sports towards building the nation. So we need to understand what kind of opportunities which are there for us. So this one slide just want to summarize everything: sports commercialization, sports development, sports education, and sustainability in sports. All in all, let's talk sports with Sportsy. I'm here to share any information that I have. I want to learn from everybody who is sitting here and would love to have a nice chat for whatever time permits. I think we started a little late. So if I get that time for next 15, 20 minutes to answer any questions, I would like to have a nice open dialogue about what I'm here for, what I'm doing, and how we can develop this amazing sporting industry in India. So please reach out to me on the credentials which I've given, or the information I've shared in the chat window about Sportsy. Let's talk sports. So I spoke in English a lot, but beyond this, I think I can. If you ask me any question, I will try to speak in Hindi or Marathi. Because speaking so much in English, Hindi or Marathi would have been really tough. I'm sorry about that. Because there are some technical terms which जो मेरे को भी मालूम नहीं कि how do I pronounce that in Hindi or Marathi. So I'm sorry about that. But I'll try my best to answer anything in Hindi. My Hindi is really bad, but मैं हिंदी में बात करके आंसर दे सकता हूँ. If you ask me questions, I would like to have a chat in Hindi or Marathi beyond this.
Yes. Thank you, Siddharth sir. The session is open for questions. I request the audience to ask some few questions, or you can write it into the chat box. So we will take the questions.
कुठलाही प्रश्न विचारू शकता, कुछ भी क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हो. I'm completely open as long as it's about sports. I'm here to talk about it.
Siddharth sir, I have a question. So,
Yes.
Not exactly a question, but can you just elaborate the term development of and through the sports?
Okay. And ये time I try to mix it with Hindi and English so that again it is because that is the area which we talk about most.
Yes.
So development of sport मतलब क्या है? हमारे पास development of sport है, मतलब हम लोग sport develop करेंगे एंड डेवलपमेंट थ्रू स्पोर्ट है, मतलब स्पोर्ट के थ्रू डेवलपमेंट करेंगे। एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं, वी आर टॉकिंग, सपोज हम लोग जैसे आई गिव एग्जांपल, मेरा खुद का क्लब है, राइजिंग पुणे एफसी इज अ फुटबॉल क्लब। आई एम वहां पे मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, आई एम डेवलपमेंट ऑफ स्पोर्ट कर रहा हूँ मैं। वहां पे मेरा एकेडमी है और 4 लायंस एकेडमी, वहां पे डेवलपमेंट ऑफ स्पोर्ट कर रहा हूँ। आई एम बिल्डिंग अ प्रॉपर पिरामिड। जैसे मेरे पास 200 बच्चे खेलते हैं एकेडमी में, उस 200 बच्चों में से सब तो कॉम्पिटिटिव लेवल पे खेल नहीं सकते, सो उसमें से अप्रोक्सीमेटली 50 अराउंड 100 बच्चे खेलते हैं कॉम्पिटिटिव लेवल पे। उसमें से मैंने अराउंड 80 बच्चे निकाले हैं वो एमेच्योर खेलेंगे, और उसमें से 20-25 बच्चे हैं वो एलीट खेलेंगे। सो पिरामिड डेवलप होता है। ये पिरामिड के टाइम पे व्हाट हैपेंस इज, पीपल एट द टॉप दे आर, उनको हमेशा लगता है कि अगर मैं अच्छा नहीं खेला तो मैं नीचे पुश हो जाऊंगा, बिकॉज मेरे पास एलीट में खेलने के लिए उतने ही स्पॉट है। और नीचे वाले को हमेशा लगता है कि मैं आज अगर अच्छा खेला, मेरा परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा किया, तो मेरे को चांस है मैं एक लेवल ऊपर जाऊं, एक लेवल ऊपर जाऊं, एक लेवल ऊपर जाऊं। सो दैट इज, वी टॉक अबाउट डेवलपमेंट ऑफ स्पोर्ट। बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट डेवलपमेंट थ्रू स्पोर्ट, हम लोग I think Amit Lahekar has asked one question about how do you bring rural areas in the process. I think that is where development through sports is very important, because we are talking about not Pune, we are not talking about Mumbai, we are talking about the rural areas or tier 3, tier 4, जहां पे बच्चे तो खेल रहे हैं, बच्चे बहुत है, इनफैक्ट जगह भी है, there are amazing talent sitting there. Believe me, no, we haven't seen any talent winning the medals from the urban area. We are always हम लोग हमेशा देखा है कि रूरल एरिया से या वेरी हम्बल बैकग्राउंड से लोग आते हैं, वो स्पोर्ट्स में ज्यादा अच्छा करते हैं, बिकॉज फाइनली वहां पे एक फायर होता है। उनको मालूम है कि अगर स्पोर्ट्स से कुछ हुआ तो ही होगा, नहीं तो कुछ नहीं होगा। सो अलग फायर होता है। सिटी लाइफ में बच्चों के बहुत कम है जिनमें फायर, वो टाइप का फायर होता है, बिकॉज उनको बाकी के एरिया डिस्ट्रैक्शन बहुत सारे होते हैं। सो हाउ डू यू ब्रिंग रूरल एरियाज इनटू डेवलपमेंट थ्रू स्पोर्ट्स is with, imagine a football ground, 5x5 football ground is really small. You can actually have a open land, एक फुटबॉल के साथ कम से कम 20 लोग खेल सकते हैं। उसके लिए आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट हो गया 800 रुपया, आपको मार्किंग करने का हो गया, एक फुटबॉल का कोचिंग का कैंप करने के लिए यू आर नॉट इवन स्पेंडिंग मोर देन 5,000 रुपीज, बट यू कैन चार्ज 50 रुपीज per kid for 1 hour, or you can charge 100 rupees per kid for 1 day and make them play, teach them technology, टेक्निकली कैसे खेलना है, 4S डेवलप कैसे करना है, स्किल स्पीड स्टैमिना स्ट्रेंथ, ये डेवलप कैसे करना है। सो आप अगर आप फुटबॉल कोच हो तो आपका कोई दोस्त होगा जो स्ट्रेंथ एंड कंडीशनिंग करेगा, आपका कोई कोच होगा जो मेंटल कंडीशनिंग करेगा, आपका कोई कोच होगा जो खाने के बारे में बोलेगा। एंड अंडरस्टैंड, यू डोंट, आपको जाके बेस्ट न्यूट्रिशन की बात नहीं करनी है। सब न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट ने बोला हुआ है कि घर का खाना इज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट न्यूट्रिशन दैट एनीबॉडी कैन गेट। सो वो प्रोसेस लोगों को समझना कि मेरे लिए वे प्रोटीन लाके ही मेरा इंटेक बढ़ेगा, ऐसा नहीं है, कि घर के खाने में भी बहुत सारा होता है। सो हाउ डू यू अंडरस्टैंड ऑल दिस थिंग? सो गेटिंग रूरल एरिया इन्वॉल्व इन द होल प्रोसेस इज बाय जस्ट टेकिंग एन इनिशिएटिव, गोइंग देयर। और हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं कि जैसे बोला कि ग्राउंड करो, वहां पे बच्चों को खिलाओ, वहां पे स्कूल्स के ग्राउंड्स अवेलेबल है, जिला परिषद म्युनिसिपल के स्कूल्स के ग्राउंड्स अवेलेबल है, वहां पे बात करो, वहां पे कैंप चलाओ, वहां पे इंफॉर्मेशन स्प्रेड करो अबाउट स्पोर्ट्स अवेयरनेस, एजुकेशन अबाउट स्पोर्ट्स। वहां पे जाके ग्राउंड पे मतलब एक जगह हम लोग लिख रहे बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ और क्या ऑल दो स्लोगन्स लिख रहे, लेकिन हम लोग अभी भी पीवी सिंधु, धोनी या नीरज चोपड़ा, उनके पोस्टर्स नहीं लगा रहे। लोगों को बच्चों को समझ भी नहीं रहा है कि ये कौन है, वो कहां से आए हैं। सो कैन वी क्रिएट हीरोज एंड शीरोज आउट ऑफ व्हाट वी हैव? सिंपल, वन सिंपल थिंग, हर स्कूल में अगर वेरेवर यू गो, आप जो स्कूल से एसोसिएटेड हो, वहां पे हर वीक में कैन वी मेक अ बेस्ट स्पोर्टिंग स्टूडेंट in the boys and girls category across age group, so that everybody feels aspirational. See, sports is going to grow on aspiration because they are inspired by somebody, and sport is here to motivate. So that's why I मैं ये 3 वर्ड के बारे में हमेशा बोलता हूँ, एस्पिरेशन, इंस्पिरेशन, मोटिवेशन। ये एंड इनके हर एक के अगर फर्स्ट वर्ड लिया तो आता है एम, AIM, एस्पिरेशन, इंस्पिरेशन, मोटिवेशन, AIM. एंड द एम हैज टू बी दैट वी मेक किड्स प्ले, वी गिव देम अपॉर्चुनिटी टू प्ले, एंड इन द प्रोसेस हम लोग उसमें पैसे भी कमा सकते हैं और जो करना है वो हम लोग अपने अपने पैशन से कर रहे हैं. So I think and at the same time, to answer Mr. Amit, there's another question by there's a question by Mr. Vivek as well about how CSR funding. So the moment we talk about underprivileged kids, the moment we talk about girls in any activity, CSR funding is, I'm not saying it's easily available, but ये बहुत easy हो जाता है considering any other activity. So when we talk about CSR funding, we are talking about कि अब जैसे मेरे क्लब में, मेरे एकेडमी में मैं CSR फंडिंग लेता हूँ फॉर बिकॉज मेरे यहाँ पे सब गर्ल फुटबॉलर्स फ्री में ट्रेन करते हैं, अंडर प्रिविलेज किड्स है. we try to give them shoes, we try to give them shin guards, we try to give them clothing for free of charge. Everything is free, we don't charge them, but at the same time we okay, I have a fundamental of not giving everything for free. I ask their parents to pay whatever they can. If my fees, अगर मेरी फीस है मंथली से 3,000 रुपया, मैं उनको बोलूंगा आपको जो पॉसिबल है दो, लेकिन फीस दो. कोई आगे कभी 500 रुपया देता है, कोई आगे कभी 200 रुपया देता है, बट आई सेड कि फ्री का वैल्यू किसी को नहीं है. सो कुछ भी दो, इट हैज टू, बिकॉज जब वो 500 रुपया भी देगा, वो बेटे को बोलेगा भाई तेरे स्पोर्ट्स पे मैं स्पेंड कर रहा हूं, यू टेक इट सीरियसली. द किड ऑल्सो विल अंडरस्टैंड द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ मेरे घर का इनकम ही 10,000 रुपया है, उसमें से 500 रुपया अगर मेरे फुटबॉल पे जा रहा है, और मेरे घर का इनकम ही 7,000 रुपया है, 5,000 रुपया है, और मेरा उसमें से 100 रुपया मेरे पिताजी और माँ वहां पे दे रही है, दैट मीन्स देयर इज अ परसेंटेज ऑफ देयर फैमिली इनकम गोइंग टुवर्ड्स इट. सो यू बिल्ड अ कम्युनिटी विच इज कॉन्शियस. हम लोगों ने और एक किया है कि हमेशा कॉर्पोरेट की बाकी क्यों जाए. All the salaried people can get a ATG exemption by donating to a charity or foundation. Why not do that? So हम लोगों ने हमारे क्लब में क्या किया है, हम लोगों ने पेरेंट्स से भी बोला है कि कैन यू अडॉप्ट अनदर किड. आप तो आप यू कैन अफोर्ड टू पे 3,000 रुपीज फॉर योर ओन किड. कैन यू अडॉप्ट वन मोर किड एटलीस्ट हाफ के ऊपर. मतलब एकेडमी पे प्रेशर कम आता है, कोचेस के पे प्रेशर कम आता है, और वो पेरेंट है जो भर सकते हैं. सो वो कंट्रीब्यूट करेंगे, दे विल अडॉप्ट वन किड फॉर द प्लेइंग. सो ये करके वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. द कॉर्पोरेट पार्ट इज सेपरेट, बट द CSR is not only corporate social responsibility, it's a conscious social responsibility. So we are trying to build a conscious ecosystem, and that's our pilot. And I'm sure that everybody now, if you think about it, you can start aligning it to your own situations and make things happen. So CSR is a big aspect, but you have to get it through a foundation or a trust or an NGO with a ATG 12A registrations, and make that thing happen. What are the major and important top differences in corporate IT and social sports management culture? समर्थ, ऐसा कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है ऑनेस्ट स्पीकिंग, बिकॉज दोनों इंडस्ट्री है. बट एक और दोनों इंडस्ट्री ह्यूमंस पे ही चलता है. लेकिन आईटी में अगर आप काम करोगे तो आप एक ही टेस्टिंग 3 बार करोगे और टेस्ट इंजीनियर रहोगे तो आपका वो काम ऑटोमेशन से निकल जाएगा और वहां पे रोबोट्स आपका काम करना करेंगे. लेकिन स्पोर्ट्स में रोबोट्स कभी काम नहीं करेंगे. This industry will always be about humans. So the moment you are compassionate about it, the more you are passionate about it, the more you think about as humans, and every case is different. If you are part of the coaching ecosystem, one of the biggest thing I want to talk to you about, please treat each kid differently. One size fits all formula nahi chalta hai. You cannot have a same thing, a mechanism for a girl and a boy at the same coaching camp. A girl is going through different challenges during the after the puberty, so you have to be mindful of those situations. A girl should not be going away calling it a girl's problem, and boys don't know what you are. So as a coach or as people in the sports industry, हमारी responsibility है to talk about this thing, get rid of this taboo. This is natural, this is very much human. What is happening, this is the process because of us even we are born, because this process exists somewhere. So it is not a girl problem. It is about how do you take care of those 4 to 5 days or 3 days. You have to be mindful about this situation. There are so many foundations who are working towards these causes. So I'm associated with there's a Hamjoli Foundation in Pune. They do a lot of activity about the woman hygiene and the menstruation and everything. So understand, I have had so many athletes. Today is one of my very dear friends' birthday, as Latika Bhandari, who is the international taekwondo athlete. She is a very big proponent of talking about the woman hygiene and the period, because वो taekwondo खेल रही है and training every day. But if she's not able to train for those couple of days, the coach should not be saying, "अरे तू बाजू में बैठे को नहीं जमेगा." No, they should have been treated differently. There is a way to train. So coaches has to understand it's not like one size fits all. 80% yes, but those 20% personalization is required. That's where you will make from good to better and better to best. So one more question by Mr. Farhan. What is the growth development ratio of football coaches in India, or do we have good opportunities abroad? See, good opportunity abroad है, but जाएंगे कैसे? Because visa is the biggest issue. आपको अगर फुटबॉल में जाना है, so are we equal or at par with Spanish coaches? Because Spain is Europe is the one area where you have opportunities to be in football, but we have to ask ourselves, हम लोग वो लेवल पे है या नहीं है? Have we given ourselves? Is only AIFF licensing good enough, or more than that, are we building ourselves to be a holistic, complete coach? ये देखना चाहिए, बिकॉज आप सबके पास टैलेंट तो सेम है, आपके पास सबके पास स्किल्स तो अच्छे ही है, बट और स्टेमिना, स्पीड सब आप डेवलप कर सकते हो, लेकिन क्या आप एक होलिस्टिक फुटबॉल एनवायरनमेंट डेवलप कर सकते हो क्या? ये देखना है. दैट्स व्हाट द कॉन्शियस सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कम्स इनटू पिक्चर. सो है, इंडिया में अपॉर्चुनिटी बहुत है. फुटबॉल इज ग्रोइंग वेरी फास्ट इन इंडिया, एंड इफ यू आस्क मी, मेरे पास मेरे एकेडमी और क्लब में मिलके आई हैव राइट नाउ 20 कोचेस who are there is one A license coach, there are one B license coach, there are 5 C license coach, and around 10 D license coaches. But I make sure that every coach I have is at least a D license coach. अगर नहीं है, अच्छा है, आओ, मैं आपका सर्टिफिकेशन कराऊंगा, मैं आपको पुश करूंगा, मैं D को C कराऊंगा, C को B कराऊंगा, B को A कराऊंगा, because education in that field is very, very, very crucial. So but when we are talking about all these things, please don't forget about the most important part about commercialization, because frustration comes if there is no commercialization. So ये सब आपको हमेशा सोचना चाहिए कि how do you bring money to sport? वो हमेशा रखो. So आपका डेवलपमेंट हो जाएगा, एजुकेशन हो जाएगा, सस्टेनेबिलिटी हो जाएगा.
Yes, thank you, Siddharth sir. Definitely aspiration, inspiration, and motivation. What else we can take from this your session? This is very important. That perspective looking towards the sports, I think लोगों में वो बदलाव आएगा. जो हम लोग सिर्फ स्पोर्ट्स परफॉर्मेंस के तरफ देखते थे, तो अभी हम लोग कमर्शलाइजेशन ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स एंड इवन द रिक्रिएशनल स्पोर्ट्स, ये सारा जो है वो डेफिनेटली जो फिजिकल एजुकेशन के जो टीचर्स है, अगर वो उनमें ज्यादा बदलाव आएंगे, ये अवेयरनेस बढ़ेगा, तो डेफिनेटली जो ग्रास रूट लेवल है, आपने जो बोला था कि स्पोर्ट्स डेवलपमेंट का जो बेस है, फाउंडेशन, सो वहां पे पी टीचर्स प्लेज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. अगर वो अवेयरनेस उनमें डेवलप होता है, तो डेफिनेटली जिस स्पीड से अभी स्पोर्ट्स इंडस्ट्री डेवलप हो रही है, तो उसके लिए बहुत और स्पीड अप हो जाएगी. सो थैंक यू फॉर योर kind words with our students. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity, Dr. Amit, Yogesh,
Shirish.
Great. Shirish, sorry, आपका नाम योगेश है on the screen, so okay, Shirish.
Yeah, it is
Yogesh. Yeah, so thank you for the opportunity. There's a few more questions coming in, so मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ कि as I said, please reach out to me on my social media, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or please follow the work I'm doing on Sportsy. It is something that is built for people like us who are part of this beautiful ecosystem. please go and subscribe to channel Sports He Says and understand the journey that I have had. This is out of my passion. In less than 2 years, I have completed over 116 interviews of who's who from the industry. It's not, I don't think there's any place where you can get so much information, and you will get to understand different aspects of grassroots, commercialization, athlete, coaches, and ecosystem across multiple interviews which I have conducted. So please do that. And I'm more than happy to talk to anybody and everybody who is here. Reach out to me on my social media handles, and I'll be more than happy to have a chat and help you, guide you, assist you, or learn from you in the journey of this beautiful industry called sports.
Yes. Thank you so much for your wonderful session.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
After this wonderful session, we will move to the next session. For this, I will hand over to Dr. Shrikant Mahadik. Dr. Shrikant Mahadik.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Deshmukh sir. Thank you very much, sir. I am Dr. Shrikant Mahadi, and I'm here to introduce our next speaker. So once again, good morning to all. It's my pleasure on behalf of Maharashtriya Mandal Chandrashekhar Agashe College of Physical Education to welcome our speaker, Mr. Ruturaj Talekar. Mr. Ruturaj Talekar is a sports enthusiast with 10 years of experience in sports field. Sir has expertise in project management, relationship management, and conceptualization and execution of large-scale projects. Sir is working towards connecting young minds to strive towards success and achievement in the field of sports and sports management. Sir has done his BA in history from St. Xavier's College, Mumbai in the year 2007. Then Sir moved to United Kingdom to pursue Masters in Sports, Leisure and Business Management from University of Bedfordshire in year 2009. Sir is also a sports person. He has played cricket, cricket at school, college, and also at university level in United Kingdom as well as in India in various cricket tournaments. Sir has ample of professional experience. He has helped many brands to achieve marketing objectives through amateur sports program. While doing so, Sir also got an opportunity to manage and work with brands like Nike, like NBA India, Boost, Reliance, Umbro, Adidas, and PNB MetLife, and many more. Sir has also worked with IPL franchises like Delhi Daredevils, ICL franchisee Delhi Dynamos, and Premier Badminton League. We are very grateful to have. We are grateful to him for accepting our invitation and becoming our speaker for today's event. Here I want to add, sir, that our students in the program BPED and MPED program, we give opportunities to our students to organize inter-house competitions, as well as they are given opportunity to organize inter-university matches, inter-collegiate matches, etc. So with your thoughts, with your experience, I hope our students will really have knowledge, and it will add to their knowledge. So I request our sir to guide all our participants as well as our students with your expertise in the sports management field. Yes, sir.
Hi there. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Again, thank you, Amit sir, for giving me this opportunity. Would like to add one bit. I was listening to Siddharth also, and I would like to touch upon that topic maybe sometime later in my discussion. Is CSR in sports? I have recently taken up CSR in sports vertical in IndusInd Bank, so I will head the sports vertical over there, and it's quite exciting to be part of something new and something which we can cooperate or channelize the fund towards sports, which is at the moment lacking in the whole ecosystem, which rightly pointed out. but as mentioned, let's start about. One second, I'll share my screen. Again, good morning, everyone. As we said, let's start about first talking about organizing competitions and sporting events, how it happened in India, and how it has transformed over the decade, I would say. Uh, as we know, competitions are not so easy to manage or to prepare for it, right? It require a lot of experiences. When I remember first event which happened in India at a bigger scale was IPL, where IMG team came from abroad and taught a lot of people. First set of people where Bikramjeet and all these guys luckily were the first set of people who actually learned from the industry experts how to run a bigger events, bigger sporting events. So it was again opportunity, or maybe I would say privilege to work with them and to be part of their team. Initially, that time I was more on the college side, and but still was part of their team which took care of the crowd management and volunteers count and all that stuff. But it was a good exposure to start off with early in the age, where working for a bigger events was a niche sort of, right? And been privileged to born in urban city, or you get that little extra edge and opportunity at an early stage. So if you want to organize an event, it takes a lot of preparations. It takes planning and key understanding of the sports itself. So कसं असतं की when you want to organize a sporting event, right? तुम्हाला जर sports माहित असेल, it becomes little always easier in life. Or to organize an event if you know the sports, right? Rather than a person who is not from the sports background, एक benefit of advantage you always get there. दूसरा, if you see the whole the process of having or organizing competitions, it is which is quite tedious and which starts like months before. So when we say months before, you have to look for a venue has to be in the suitable area where the participants can reach there, when the or the spectators can be part of this whole experience. So that has to be taken care of, and which has to be started at early age. Then you have to make sure your volunteers, your all stakeholders are in place. When you say stakeholders, your infrastructures, your sound guys, your AVs and structures, every people who is involved in a small bit also should be there, aligned with what is thought to or what has to happen on the field on that given day. And then again, this is something which has started lately. The weather has become really volatile. Like England, when people there is a sun or there is a rain any time in any year, or in any month. Same thing has started happening in India, unfortunately, and abroad as well, like in Australia. So there is technology which is coming up and trying to build a covered field for the outdoor sports. Like Wimbledon has this cover shade. If I'm not wrong, there is a venue in Australia which also have a cover shade for cricket. I think MCG. But still there's a long way to go, but still we need to prepare. At least your basic things has to be ready when we talk about event, and when let's be ready for a rainy season or a storm, or a really increase in the temperature. So these things has to be taken into consideration when you plan an event. I would say कसं असतं की आपण जेव्हा पण इव्हेंट करतो, in short, there is a lot of planning जी त्याच्याबरोबर लागते. Lot of think through. You have to think through backwards. From the match day पासून ते आपण उलटा विचार करायचा प्रयत्न करायचा असतो. जसं की what is going to happen on the match day, national finals, your quarter finals, semi finals, your registration, your marketing activities, and how to get to the stakeholders. So as a project manager, if you're leading any project, it is always important that the whole picture is clear in front of at least clear in your head, that can be translated to your subordinates. So this whole journey or this whole phase has to be chalked down or mapped, which is really important to plan or organize any sporting events at any level for that matter. If you talk about a grassroots level or a school collegiate level, or you talk about the league levels, or you talk about the international levels, when we talk about Olympics and World Cups happening, there has to be basic steps which has to be followed. There has to be a planning, and you cannot uh, uh, have the gaps between the days, or between the whole planning which you create. So obviously we're going to talk in next slide, what the basic steps we need to make sure when we talk about planning an event, or or what is the basic tick marks we have to do. Firstly, what are the key steps when you deliver a successful event, right? So as I mentioned, venue, your location area is really critical, considering your spectators and participants through a back and forth should happen smoothly. The venue is accessible for the fans as well. So for instance, if as mentioned earlier by the sir, right, when we are doing an event at a grassroots level, or at a school or a collegiate level, participation of the fan apart from the parents is less. Eventually the idea is to make sure, or make the community and make the competition so competitive, where we get the audience to come and watch the games, which unfortunately is lacking in India. And obviously this can change why the awareness in the community, and when we start taking sports as a profession other than cricket, as mentioned earlier also, right? So there has to be an awareness, there has to be a competitive games, there has to be fans coming in to motivate the participants, where they give their best on the field, and obviously perform at the best of their abilities. That is also one of the angle when you arrange a competition or any sporting events. So as I said, location, venue is also has to be taken into consideration. The second is a sponsorship or tie-ups. If at all there is a sponsors or tie-up, we need to close the deliverables which comes along with the sponsors tie-ups. The requirements, expectations should be met on the event day. So that has to be closed beforehand, and it should not be kept at the last moments. And thirdly, which also we can look after, is association tie-ups, which is again one of the critical parts when we do any even sporting events at any level. If you talk about a grassroots level, your district level, or your leagues level, or a international level. Association dates, when I understand it's a basic thing, but it has to be taken care that our event doesn't clashes with any of the association events, like their nationals or districts, their selections for the different categories. It should not clash with that. We need to make sure that has to be taken care of. Also, if it clashes with it, the problem what we can face is that there might be a technical staff shortage. We might not get best of the technical staff which is around in the city. That's another hurdle or obstacle which we face when we do any sporting event, especially if you're doing an event in a tier 2 or tier 3 cities. So we were part of something called a boost selection camp. We've been doing it, or maybe I can't say we now, but my ex-company I was heading that boost cricket selection for under 14 and under 16 kids across India. So we did it in 75 locations across India, across 5 so the problem with that was, or a major obstacle was, the district association was there with us, right? But there was not enough selectors or coaches who could help us to identify the talent for the scholarship. So we have to actually change, or move our dates back and forth, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, where the coaches or the support staff was not available. For instance, if I am doing something in Tamil Nadu, right, and there is a location in Tamil Nadu is let's say Kanchipuram, right? You don't have much trained cricket coaches over there, or selectors at the grade which Boost wanted, right? So we have to tie up with the people in Chennai, and the district associations have to send for someone to the other tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and then the date has to be planned. It is a major hurdle, I would just, and And considering it is a cricket, still it was quite a task to find a really good, a decent selector and in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Because a lot of coaches, if you see, especially the old coaches, they have a lot of experience, but a lot of them have not certified, right? If at all, if you're working with a brand always goes with the norm because they have their global policies in picture, and they always wanted someone who is certified by, let's say, BCCI or ICC or any government body which is recognized, right? So this is obviously another task and issue at a tier 2 and tier 3 city levels. But that has to be considered and it has to be thought through, so which again, as I said, we should be doing it beforehand and rather not keep it in the end. And obviously the first step would be your basic event day checklist. You have to make sure you sit with the team match day 1s1, which we always call. So there is a concept which I'm sure you guys would have known, and you've been doing this tournaments at a school and collegiate level, and some people I'm sure would have done it at a much bigger level also. So when you say talk about event day event days checklist, right? There is something called match day 1, right, which normally is followed at the league levels and at a much higher levels at the district and national level. But to be really frank, when the IMG guys who came from UK to India during 2010 at that time, right, they taught us this whole match day -1 concept, or match day -7 concept, or match day -3. That's how it works, right? So when I say match day -1, it is always the day before the event, and we count it accordingly. So they said any international event or any event which is going to go live on television, right? It is always we need to make sure we are ready match day -6. So if someone comes down and say, okay, let's do the event, let's prepone the event 6 days before the actual date, we should be ready. That is the basic pillar. When we talk about conducting an event. But unfortunately, then how the days passed, and after a decade, India started adopting something called match day -3. We have Indian style of working, and unfortunately, they reduced the from match day -6 to -3, which at least lately I remember that was the format they used to follow. But I don't know, maybe they have been shifted after 10 teams coming into pitch, especially in IPL. But when it again coming back to actually when we say match day -3, you should be ready with all your weather preparations. As we said, your technicals should be there, should be on the call. Your local policemen, your firemen, your local municipality government should be in picture and should be in loop and notified about the whole activities and tournaments going to happen. So these are the basic checks. You do it every day from the match day -6, I would say, till the event day. So your team is aware of what is happening on the event day. What if there are safety measures has to be taken, what an individual has to do, how the evacuation of the participants or your spectators should be done, in a safest manner. So this all things has been done, or something called, we call it as the dry run, right? Which is done, again, we do it every day for 6 days to make sure that on the event that there are no hiccups or no gaps are in the event. So these are the things which you actually learn, or or if you get a little opportunity to conduct an event where you see these things happening around, right? I understand it is not a one event day process. It takes time to know all the departments and all the stakeholders when it comes to bigger events or any large scale events. When you talk about 50 cities, 60 cities across India, it takes time. But if you get into that process, and luckily, as I said, I got an early opportunity to work with the IPLs, and then I was lucky enough to work with Wembley Stadium when I was in London. So I was part of the event day crew. Again, at a smaller role, but it gives a bigger exposure and understanding of how the events are run in Europe and how the events are run in India. Though there is a lot of dissimilarities, I would say, but still we are trying to catch up those things. But again, it's because over there it is a structured base. There's a structure there is a format which people follow and stick and adhere to it. and unfortunately still in India is in phase of developing it, though it is rapidly developing, but it's still, there is a long way when we talk about a professionalism structure into any sporting event per se. So that is there, and hopefully we'll be there someday for sure. Considering there's a lot of sports management courses are around in India nowadays, where people teach about the whole structure of professionalism and how the things are done in developed countries as compared to what we are doing at the moment. But and I'm sure the same new generations will take that thing up ahead when it comes to organizing a successful event. And finally, something called a post event, which is talking to a participant and understanding their experience of the event. This is also helps us to reflect back to us, considering if at all there are anything which we need to change or which we need to adopt to do a better event next year. It always helps. So your feedback is always important. That can be done via SMS or through a Google form, or you can just pick up a phone and have a team of telecallers who could just pick up and speak to the participant. It always helps, and that the connect is there to build a loyalty among the fans also when the event is happening, or the participants. If there is an event happening at the grassroots level, why a college or school should participate, or why a participant should look forward for that event is always about the participant journey or the experience, right? So we always talk about a journey of a participant for any event, for that matter, be it at a school level or a college level, a district level, national and international level. From the day of the he participates, like he fills in the form or the coach fills in the form, from there till the national level, till the national finals, and post that, taking their feedbacks is so important, and the participant should feel that that okay, the organizers are doing something for them. They would also want to improve if at all there are any changes which I would have not liked during the event, right? That inclusiveness is always important, and you bring their expertise or their opinion, and you take, and it is a normal psychology, right? If you always care about people's opinion, or at least hear to them, it always goes long way. That's what we also believe when we organize an event, or anyone should actually do or implement that whenever they do these things, right? And then post-event documentations, which, if as mentioned, if there is a sponsor, we need to submit the documentations as agreed, or or mutually discussed with the client, and make sure that photos, your basic photos, your match day reports and everything is gone to them for their amplification of the event also, which also helps us to make sure that the event is amplified at a much on a bigger platform, I would say, where the media covers it. So that is another way of of keeping this, or maybe another important thing which we have to make sure when every event is done, no matter how small the event is. Make sure your basic photographs, your documentations, the results, the winner, the best players should be noted down and documented somewhere. As this goes really long way. You never know, that person might become a star in another 10-15 years, and he's always, you help, at a school level, you always help that, okay, he was our ex-player, or I was his ex coach, who taught him at the initial level. So that connect remains, that it is all, and it is really important in a sportsman journey, or in a coach journey as well. Next, we talk about different types of sporting events. As we know, there are a lot of leagues which have come up. Initially in India, there was only IPL, which started the whole league concept, and which obviously it took little time for all the franchises also to earn money. But it has grown. It has grown leaps and bounds, and as we know, there is additional 2 teams also, considering the popularity of the sport. We have something called NBA, which is again a popular league in US. I would say they are the NBA is much bigger than the actual international level tournaments which happen. Because it is so competitive. It is competitive. There's a lot of sponsors and money pouring in. There's a lot of grassroots work they still do it, which we have to actually learn from them. Considering the sport is at a level where there's a good 60-70% of US population do follow. In Europe, people do follow. Unfortunately, in India, the telecast happens in the morning, so there is not that much of viewership at the moment. But what NBA is doing it, which luckily again I got the opportunity to work with them, is they're introducing basketball in the PE curriculums. So what they're doing is they are conducting workshops for coaches. So they're giving a module which the techniques how that basketball has to be taught to the kids, and they're helping with the infrastructure bit and all that stuff. So this is spreading across India. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, this thing is process is stopped. But luckily, we were again the part where I was working with the company spread across India, and the logic was simple and clear, right? If you want to develop or build sports, it has to start from the grassroots, which the basic of how the NBA became bigger in US is because they believed, or they the whole structure was built on a grassroots, and at community level, and that's what they brought same thing to India. They taught they asked the coaches to help them, to introduce basketball where it was not there. They gave a modules, they gave equipments, and they also make sure that even at when you see community, they also make sure there was after classes of NBAs, if at all any school was interested in it, and they used to send their foreign coaches to it, and they did a lot. They spent a lot to develop the sports, which is expected, or which we also want the other sport other than cricket, which to some extent ISL is doing. What they're doing is they're making sure that the community level. So they have this something called the reserve team. So they have these reserve team competitions among all the franchises. Which is a mandatory for them. They also franchise has been also mandated to make sure that there is a grassroots level development at each state level. So they have a program called RFIC. So what RFIC does it, or we used to do it for Reliance. The idea was to have selection camps in every urban cities and invite other states or other district players also for the selections. The top selected players was brought to Bombay for a national final selection, and with that selections, what they used to do is they used to identify good 15 talent, right? And they used to sponsor, or they are still sponsoring their entire education and their coaching and stay and then all the high performance centers and sports science and everything for them. So what they've done is they have, and again, the idea behind this was, it becomes a feeder for ISL. That was the whole idea or a process to start this grassroots development, which has really worked for them. So they have a separate team in Bombay, which plays under the banner of Reliance Foundation now. And it has grown leaps and bounces. They have 2-3 batches which have already passed out, and few of the players have already represented India and ISL teams. So again, the idea is also maybe in coming next years to expand a lot. And same thing they are doing in athletics also. What they have done is, in athletics, they have tied up with a government of Odisha, and they have created a high performance center in Odisha. As we know, as everyone knows, Odisha sport model which is really appreciated across India because of their role in hockey. So just to divert from it and just to give a brief example of what Odisha government is doing. What they do is, any district state tournament happens or at a national level, you get a venue free. Okay, that's one thing. But what they're also doing is inviting the corporates. So they have invited, let's say, Tata Trust to develop a hockey center for her excellence, where IndusInd Bank also invest. So it's a partnership project with that. The whole understanding of promoting hockey over there because the whole belt or the tribal region, which is understood that the hockey comes naturally to them. So that's the whole idea of developing hockey in that part of Orissa. They have invited Reliance to Orissa, and they have built a high performance center for athletics. Recently, they have recently started, and unfortunately, again the pandemic hit, and which has to be stopped. Still running only for the elite athletes, but unfortunately they were not able to add more athletes to it. But again, this process will start from this year, where I think 15 plus athletes will go on to they'll increase the number to at least 40 athletes for the high performance center. So this module has been adopted, and as we have seen Tokyo Olympics, where hockey hockey girls team has done really great, right? After seeing this successful model, even UP has adopted a sport. They have adopted wrestling as a sport for next 5 years. So if at all we see this module, where every state set up one sports, I'm sure our tally numbers in Olympic or maybe at a national or championship level will be much different. So coming back to the actual leagues, when we're talking about it, the leagues have developed, and this leagues helps to shape your sports ecosystem in country, and that has been proven. NBA has done in NBA, your baseball, and your soccer has done in US. Your football has been done. Your football is there in UK. And IPL has done in India. So these leagues have helped sports to evolve and grow in a faster pace, as more than what we expected, and it is growing. And I'm sure maybe another 5-10 years will be a good sporting power. Olympic success we had in our Olympic, Paralympic, and Olympic medal tallies. Second bodies is again, as I spoke, Olympic and Olympics and World Cups, which are organized by your national, international bodies, where all the best competing nations come together and compete for a trophy, which is again a huge event in a calendar for all the nations who are part of these sports. Including India, which has put a lot of interest, thanks to recently a lot of policy shift has been happening at the government level also, where Khelo India and University Games and government introducing different schemes to get more investment in sports, which hopefully again will reflect in our investment or spendings down the years. Nextly, again, third type of different types of sports which we can talk about is your grassroots competitions and events, which again Reliance plays a bigger role in that way, where they have initially started with football tournaments at a college and a school level, and then it introduced athletes. And I was again fortunate to work with Reliance to start this in 2016 with them for 2 years before I could move to another project. But again, the idea was to build NCAA level tournaments, where grassroots tournaments also should have fans, should have as competitive games as we see at a national or international level. So still, again, they are building this whole community and the concept around it, and invested heavily on the grassroots level. There are other players also who work at a grassroots level, is Sports for All, which if I'm not wrong, they are only in 2 states at the moment, which is in Bombay and Telangana, and I'm sure they are going to expand maybe in coming years, considering the success which they had with as they are the official execution partners for the University Games at Panchkula now. So they're also growing, and hopefully they will expand it. And this third, which is Stair Sports Football League, which is again a non-profitable organization, but the league, which started as a non-profit league, has grown tremendously, and they have expanded, and they have multiple projects around it. So that's one thing which they have been doing, and they're also expanding across India. I put a small sponsorship advertising where I talk about. I just wanted to just give a connection to it. Why I put this line, sponsorship advertising. When we say where a company pays to be associated with any event For example, in if RFIs is doing an event because they're investing money, and I'm sure it is through their CSR fundings, and the money is always a little short. So what they do is they try to do a tie-up, or they try to bring a sponsors. What they've tried to bring in Adidas and then Bristlery for the water partners and technology partners and all that stuff, and which most of them do, right? Any bigger funder will always require a support of other corporates also to make sure the event sustained at the ground level, because it's in huge investments, and grassroots are the most expensive sports when we talk about, because it go on for months, as compared to your IPLs or other one-day events, or for that matter even Olympics. But grassroots events can go on for good 3-4 months, and it takes a lot of efforts to sustain and to make sure you achieve a next level at a every year. It has to be better than last year. That's what it is always the aim at. If you don't, and if you get stagnant at one level, it becomes really unfortunate for a tournament or a organizer too. So this is a basic. I've just brought on a structure. This is what a grassroots your project team structure looks like. As I said, there are a lot of stakeholders are involved in it. I know the diagram will look really complicated, but just to give an understanding of, even I started as an executive at a zonal level 10 years, 10, 12 years back. I have climbed my ladders by being part of all the segments like, operations, vendor management, your logistics, your activities, data management, and then project head. Because if you're a project head, you have to make sure that you are part of some segment or the other in your life to understand and to make sure that the whole segment runs smoothly, when you're heading any further. So this is just to give a glimpse of that. Again, this is a sample Gantt chart, again, not the entire one, which we created for a project, which normally has to be monitored and sat with the team. And I would suggest or strongly believe, any level event, has to be documented, and it should be followed, or it should be mapped, or it should be, I would say, we need to make sure that every event should be when we track the status of the event, or the status of the whole activity, or the status of element should be, we need to make sure we sit down with the team every day, at least half an hour, and run through it. And that's how the perfection comes into picture. We cannot just rely on the brain memory that मला तर माहिती आहे की मला त्या दिवशी 50 बॉटल पाण्याच्या पाहिजे आहेत, त्या दिवशी एवढ्या लोकांशी बोलायचंय, एवढे रेफरीज पाहिजे आहेत. हे दिस इज इझी वेन यू से की आपल्याला हे आठवत आहे, माहिती आहे, बट हे बिकॉज आपण हे करतोय रोज म्हणून आपल्याला माहिती आहे. द पीपल हु आर वर्किंग विथ यू और हु आर न्यूली इन want to learn something, this is not the way we teach people, or this is not the way we should run the events. Every time open an Excel word, याच्यावर लिहून ठेवा की काय आपल्याला पाहिजे, 5 गोष्टी असतील, 5 गोष्टी लिहा, follow with the team, sit with the team, talk about it. If there is a problem, delays, track it. Make sure there is a solution. I always believe there is always a solution for any problem, unless the problem is occurring on the event day. But apart from that, if you sit down with the team and make sure that your 6 days are there, you're making that effort, to follow up and close the task, your event day smoothness, it will automatically change. You will realize that that there is a shift in the way I used to conduct a smaller events or any event, and there is change now. I have to run less, and I can enjoy the event during the event day rather than just following up with people and what happened to the ambulance, where is your coach, where is your participants, and XYZ sort of, right? So this basic checks has to be done prior to the event. This is again which I was been requested, and I thought I'll cover it in a bit, about opening or starting an academy or club. Well, I believe, and I think Siddharth also touched upon it, it is a commercialization is also important, because eventually you need to know where the money is coming from. Because किती झालं तरी cannot at a certain point in the आपण खिशातून पैसे टाकू शकत नाही. We need to make sure की there has to be someone who is supporting the cause or the efforts which we are trying to do. Though as we say ki it can be a profitable business, but it is the right way, because eventually it's a business, right? How much you love, how much the passion for sports is, it's a business, right? Unfortunately, the word business has to be attached to it, considering the fact that you have to make sure your coach's salary or your run or your day-to-day needs are taken care of, at least through the, if you're thinking from that, right? So it is a business where we need to make sure that we manage it well, though as we say, and I'm sure a lot of people would have been talking and listening about it, as the sport is going in India, and it's going at a rapid space. If you just imagine 10 years back, there was only IPL who could help the people to get little exposure to the bigger events or a job, once in a year. Apart from that, there were not much opportunities. Right now, there are so many leagues coming up. Even state associations are, having this league concept where you have Tamil Nadu Premier League happening at a state level, and then there's a Maharashtra league which is happening at state level where association gets involved, and so the sponsors are coming in, and this creates job opportunities for all the sport loving people or the people who are inspiring to be at a certain level, after their sports courses. So the industry is growing, and I'm sure it will be more structured down the line, and there is more opportunities, and as we always, as we always say this, by one event you will never get to understand how the show is run. You might get stagnant and you might think, okay, ye to roj ka kaam hai yaar, I don't want to do this, let's do something else. But what we say is, don't lose that hope. Make sure you keep on asking questions at the right time to your subordinates or your two seniors. Try to learn. Be proactive in any event which you are part of. Right? Do your job fair enough. You have been doing for last 2 years. Do it. Right. Also try to give that. Give the I want to do more. I would like to learn something. If I have some time to spare up. This goes long way, and this whole thing has worked with me also. The whole eagerness to learn, to learn different departments, and it and luckily I was under good people who could help me to understand the whole department in every different events, and experience of being part of the actual events. So let's just start with the small, right? Look at the locality where you want to do it, especially the area. You cannot just compare with your friends places in other. He's charging 500 rupees, so let's maybe charge 500. No, you need to make sure that the feasibility, the understanding of locality. If I'm staying, let's say in Bombay, I'm staying in Marine Lines, so I might charge 400 rupees per session, just an approx figure, right? But you cannot expect same amount of 400 per session in let's say if you're in Navi Mumbai or in somewhere in, let's say, Thane or Mulund side of it. You need to see the locality, how much people can understanding of little market study you have to do before you could actually say, okay, let's charge X amount to X participants, or if I want to start a coaching class. Understand age group which you want to work. So there is something called a toddlers area also, which in football is there, in cricket is there. In athletics they start a little later. Even in gymnastics, they have something called in-school activity or post the school activities, where they have these athletic classes in the hall, and something which the PE teachers or the coaches which do it. So just see your target audience, which sector you want to cater to. That is really important, that you don't want to be someone who is an ICC level ICC level coach, and you're trying to teach a toddler. Your expertise might differ, so just identify that is really important as a coach or as a person who wants to build the whole club or academy around. You can go on for one-on-one training, or you can have a small group of sessions of 1 hour, 2 hours, and split the categories into different space. A tie with the school and colleges, if you don't have a sufficient space, or tie with the school and colleges, try to get the revenue split. Initially I would say do not go for a money bit, because eventually the money will flow in once you understand, or once people understand how the coaching is going on, right? It also depends on how your interaction with the players, and how your players are growing in the whole the process of the coaching. So you need to think through that. So there are few which have with the foreign, again, it requires a huge investments, and they bring their training module, and it also helps to promote the sport or to attract players. So you have Arsenal ties with IoTs and Sachin Tendulkar ties with your Medici club, which again, Sachin Tendulkar itself is a big brand, but wants to make a global brand, and spread cricket to the associate nations also. When we say associate nations, the apart from the 10 top cricket teams which play regular cricket, there are you have Nepal, you have Germany's and Oman's and UAE's and a lot of teams to spread the coaching there also. So if you want to have a global presence, you always tend to rely on the experts, and Middlesex is one of the old cricket counties in London. So that was Sachin Tendulkar's idea. Let's go ahead with Middlesex because it's right from the they have a technical expertise, and Sachin as a brand itself is big. Yeah, so they both collaborate in this and East and Europe a lot. Another angle which I would like to touch upon, and which I initially I spoke about also was, and then the final thing, is a CSR sports angle. As I was part of the on the other side where I used to go to the brands and make sure the brand marketing budgets are diverted to the sports events, and how sports can help to develop that connect with the kid. Boost would love to do something because the TG is around 14 to 16 years. Same with Milo. PNB MetLife had a different angle where they said, okay, let's touch upon the kids through badminton, and then parents will be tagged on, because PNB whole global initially was global. Idea was to build around badminton in India and in Southeast Asia. So this multi MNCs build everything on their global ideas or global marketing. Global marketing perspectives, where it is decided, let's say Adidas says ki I want to do something, about the plastic waste in ocean. So they run around the campaign, their world offices in India, in Pakistan, in Middle East and in Europe, saying that let's support this cause. So they get attached to a global, much bigger global cause, which they always want to be, because as they are a global brand, they would like to portray themselves as similar to it, sort of. So coming back to the CSR angle, as I said, we need this money is not enough, right? So what I've understood when as I said, I've recently joined in Indian Bank, and I've been will be heading sports vertical. What I've understood is it is really important that the top management committee's DNA, it should be in the DNA saying that, okay, let's do something in sports. Let's do something in inclusive sports. So INDUSIN, if you see, if you can go check on the internet, INDUSIN does lot in inclusive sports and her excellence. So when I say inclusive sports, INDUSIN has tied up with Samarthanan Foundation, which is in Bangalore, and they are the direct bodies who conduct or who represents cricket in India. So they have a team. We have a cricket team, blind team who represents India, and recently we have launched a cricket blind team for women also. So this whole idea of inclusiveness is there, and they want to, and they also support Go Sports Foundation, where Paralympics has given amazing results. They have been invested in likes of Pramod Bhagat and all the athletes, for good 5 to 10 years of their career, and now that now the results have started coming in, and it's an amazing feeling, right? Once you invest in someone at that level, and eventually after 5-6 years the results are there, and this encourages, maybe this might encourage even the other corporates to invest more in sports, and hopefully, and government is also doing a lot of changes in terms of how the corporate sports structure is looking. They have started a lot of funds where if the corporate doesn't know the expertise or doesn't have the expertise, they can just put the fund in the fund and into your top sporting scheme. So this whole thing, the government has brought the changes. Still, again, lot to do. government pushing and making sure, at least from the CSR bit, sports gets more funding than what it is getting. It's a huge money of sports, and out of that, at least I think only 1.5 to 2% gets invested in sports. So let's say if I have 100 rupees, only at the moment only 2 rupees is getting invested in sports. So there is an effort from a lot of stakeholders, from private organizations, from NGOs, to make sure the corporates get attraction of sports, and hopefully maybe again the people like us, who've been in sports, who played sport, go to a position where we know yes, now let's put sports in front, which already as our organization is doing it. How you going to create awareness for other companies to follow your footsteps? That is a bigger challenge, which I think I'm looking forward to. And yeah, so this is what I had in my mind, and it was a pleasure actually sharing my experience of my 10 years of sporting careers, and if yeah, open for any questions, answers. Happy to yeah, related to sports, anything which anyone wants to ask. Yeah, happy to answer that.
Thank you, Ruturaj sir. I would keep the session open for questions. If anyone have questions, please share it on the chat. Sir, I would like to ask a question. What skill sets do you think are going to be required to our physical education teacher or the students what you have to become a good administrator or a good organizer? Can you hear me, sir?
Sorry, I lost you in between.
Yeah. So I
question actually.
I would like to ask what skill sets are going to be required for our physical education teachers or the students to excel in organizing sports or events? काही प्रमुख skill sets?
म्हणजे कसं आहे माहिती आहे, I would always promote them. He try to be part of some events which is organized around you. So for instance, जर तुम्ही पुण्यात असाल तर बालेवाडीमध्ये काय होतंय का? Try to volunteer. Don't look for a monetary thing. Try to volunteer. Try to understand how the whole system or the process works. Right. The best experience to learn anything is hands-on experience where you be part of something and learn it. म्हणजे मी पण तसंच शिकलोय. म्हणजे असं नाही की तुम्ही बसलात आणि कोणाचं ऐकलं किंवा बुक मधून वाचलात. ठीक आहे, बुक मधून वाचून कोणाचं ऐकून एक मला पर्स्पेक्टिव्ह क्रिएट होतो, विच इज गुड इनफ. बट इव्हेंच्युअली द आयडिया की कसं आहे की तुम्ही जर ते केलं नाही स्वतः, स्पेशली ऑर्गनायझिंग समथिंग लाईक इन स्पोर्टिंग इव्हेंट इज नॉट अ easy task when you realize, right? Because as a participant what we do is की चलो यार obviously there is a different efforts behind it. पण कसं असतं की ठीक आहे, मी प्रॅक्टिस केली आहे वर्षभर आणि मला जाऊन माझं आय हॅव टू गिव्ह माय बेस्ट. तेच फोकस. When you organize an event, there are a lot of things other than your actually activities. The entry and exits, the safety of the players, participants, and the flow of the event. The time management, managing different stakeholders. If there are multiple sponsors, हे सगळ्या गोष्टी आहेत ना तुम्हाला. And there is lot of things, right? हे सगळ्या गोष्टी तुम्ही जोपर्यंत केलं नाही, if you don't be part of that whole, right, तर तुम्ही शिकू शकणार नाही असं मला पर्सनली वाटतं. बट डोंट फील शाय. म्हणजे लाजायचं नाही. जर छोटाचा छोटा रोल असेल, एक व्हॉलंटियर रोल असेल, लेट्स से की कॉमनवेल्थ होत आहेत किंवा विचवर ऍक्टिव्हिटीज म्हणजे छोट्या नॅशनल लेवलवर टुर्नामेंट्स होत आहेत किंवा ग्रासरूट लेवल होत आहेत, बी पार्ट ऑफ इट ॲटलीस्ट सम वे ऑर दी अदर अँड ट्राय टू लर्न फ्रॉम.
येस सर, आम्ही तुम्हाला सांगू इच्छितो की खेलो इंडियाच्या ज्या टुर्नामेंट कॉम्पिटिशन झालेल्या होत्या 2 वर्ष अगोदर पॅन्डेमिकच्या आधी. सो वी वेर द होल कॉलेज वॉज अ बिग पार्ट ऑफ द व्हॉलेंटिअरिंग. सो आपण तिथेही जातो आणि गेले आपण 15 ते 20 वर्ष झाले पुणे मॅरेथॉन जी आहे त्याला आपण व्हॉलेंटिअरिंग करतो आणि त्याद्वारे वी ट्राय टू गिव्ह अ लॉट ऑफ एक्सपिरियन्सेस टू आवर स्टुडंट्स. And secondly, we also conduct a lot of competitions, which Madik sir has mentioned about inter-college असेल, zonals असतील किंवा inter-university असेल. And so we try to give experiences.
Which is great actually. म्हणजे तेच आहे की इव्हेंच्युअली कसं असतं, प्रोएक्टिव्हनेस इज ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टंट, राईट? की ठीक आहे यार, मला आय वॉन्ट टू डू दिस. मी चला मॅरेथॉन मध्ये, एक मॅरेथॉन मध्ये गेलो, आय कंडक्टेड द कॉम्पिटिशन, ग्रेट. आज किती मी माझा जो स्पेअर टाइम आहे, और माझा जो टाइम आहे, हाऊ टू इन्व्हेस्ट इन अ गुड वे, राईट? तर लेट्स बी देर आर लॉट ऑफ, म्हणजे अगोदर प्री पॅन्डेमिक होत होते ऍक्टिव्हिटीज, जसं की गव्हर्नमेंट ऑल्सो डू दिस टाइम्स रन होतात, यु नो, ऑन द संडेज अँड वीकेंड्स. ट्राय टू बी पार्ट ऑफ दॅट, यु नो. it eventually कसं बोलतात ना, there is no end to the learning, right? You have to make sure की you be part of वेगवेगळ्या इव्हेंट्स, वेगवेगळ्या सेगमेंटचं पार्ट. म्हणजे जर एकदा मी एका रेस मॅनेजमेंट कमिटीमध्ये असेल, तर एकदा तुम्ही क्लोजिंग सेरेमनीच्या कमिटीमध्ये राहा, एकदा इनॉग्रेशन टीमच्या सेरेमनीच्या कमिटीमध्ये राहा, यु नो, एकदा युअर लेट्स से व्हॉलंटियर मॅनेजमेंट कमिटीच्या मध्ये राहा, you know, then your food and F&B sector, the hospitality sector committee मध्ये राहा. You always give at least something or other you will take away from the event for sure. That's the whole understanding idea.
Hello. Hello. Yes. So, sir, माझा एक प्रश्न आहे. आता आपण सगळे परफॉर्मन्स ओरिएंटेड लीग्स किंवा कॉम्पिटिशन्स ऑर्गनाइज करतो. इव्हन आता स्टेट किंवा डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवलला पण त्या चालू झाल्या. पण अशी काही कॉन्सेप्ट फ्युचर मध्ये येऊ शकेल की रिक्रिएशनल स्पोर्ट्स कॉम्पिटिशन्स किंवा तो कम्युनिटी स्पोर्ट्स इव्हेंट्स, सो त्याचं काही फ्युचर किंवा त्याबद्दल काही सांगू शकाल का?
फार होतं म्हणजे, पण ते प्रॉब्लेम काय झाला, ते ऍम्प्लिफिकेशन आणि मोटिवेशन मिळत नाही. कसं आहे माहितीये की देर इज लाईक लॉट ऑफ कम्युनिटी बेस्ड कॉम्पिटिशन होतात, लाईक यु नो देर इज ओसवाल कम्युनिटी लीग, जे मुंबईत होते, क्रिकेट लीग आहे. You know, as a community, they come together and, you know, the cricket tournament होते, 10-on-10 cricket घेतात, season वर cricket असते. But I understand की not every level हे होतं, फक्त थोडं urban level वर होत असेल, but जे at least tier 2, tier 3 cities level मध्ये नाही होत, you know. But this is more related to कसं awareness आहे. Eventually कसं आहे की there has to be someone to एक initiative घेतला पाहिजे. फॉर इन्स्टन्स समजा मी कुठल्या, समजा अगेन आंध्र प्रदेशचं एक एक्झाम्पल देतो. समजा मी एका कोलपट्टीमध्ये कुठल्या एका सिटीमध्ये बसलो, आय डिसाइडेड ॲज अ पी टीचर कोच, यु नो, की ठीक आहे, मला माझ्या कम्युनिटीसाठी या माझ्या एरियाच्या मुलांसाठी काहीतरी एक कॉम्पिटिशन या रिक्रिएशनल हे स्पोर्ट्स खेळवायचे आहे, यु नो. तर काही करू शकतो मी छोट्या लेवलवर. एक वन डे टुर्नामेंट सांगायची संडेची आहे, नॉकआउट टुर्नामेंट, बेसिक स्टार्ट फ्रॉम सॉल्व. आय ऑलवेज बिलीव्ह काही पण चालू करायला एक स्टार्ट फ्रॉम सॉल्व आहे. देर इज अ बिग स्कोप फॉर इट. रिक्रिएशनली बोललं तरी there is something called Mumbai Games which was started like a franchisee based model होता, where recreational activity sports होते, 30 sports आहेत त्याच्यात, if I'm not wrong, sorry 16 sports आहेत त्याच्यात, where you know, it's a recreational sports competition होती, which is at a good level, you know, you have a league level होतं, elite levels होतं, and then you proceed in the tournament. It's a weekend tournament, you know. Lot of corporates are coming up with the concept, but कसं होतं ना, eventually sustainability becomes an issue because spending that much, you know, because your venues are expensive, right? Especially in urban cities, and so sustainability becomes a question over here. If sustainability is a problem solved, if there is a community comes together, you know, where we say there is a fund available every year where we can do something, some activities. Let's do a sporting event rather than going out for, you know, चला महाबळेश्वरची ट्रिप घेऊया वीकेंडला किंवा तसं काय असेल, तर वी कॅन सजेस्ट, यू नो, लेट्स हॅव अ रिक्रिएशनल स्पोर्ट ऍक्टिव्हिटी. जस्ट अन अल्टरनेटिव्ह. इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी एव्हरी आपली ट्रिप जी कन्वर्ट स्पोर्टिंग इव्हेंटला कन्वर्ट केली पाहिजे, बट अगेन इट्स अन इंडिव्हिज्युअल इनिशिएटिव्ह, राईट? इट कॅन नॉट बी सेइंग दॅट की तुम्ही कुठला एक मोठा कॉर्पोरेट किंवा कंपनी येऊन हॅज टू टेल कम्युनिटी अरे हे करू. बोलतात आपण जसं बोलतो ना की डीएनए मध्ये असलं पाहिजे यार, चला लेट्स थिंक थ्रू स्पोर्ट्स ऑन. काही झालं तरी पहिले माझ्या डोक्यात क्लिक झालं पाहिजे, स्पोर्ट्स थ्रू मी काय करू शकतो. दॅट्स हाऊ वी वर्क विथ द मार्केटिंग, लाईक यू नो, विथ मल्टीनॅशनल कंपनीज ऑल्सो, मायलो असेल या रिलायन्स असेल या एनी कंपनी. We give that we always think through a sport angles in that how we can bring the funds, or how the inclusiveness of a corporate or any individual who is not related to the sports can be included in the mainstream or in recreation sports, you know. So that's the whole thinking process or DNA which we say, right? always talk about. It change actually. But there is as mentioned, there is a huge scope for it for sure. But it is an individual efforts at a grassroots level, at a society level. I would say it's an individual efforts.
Thank you so much. So definitely we can set the trend.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
And
Yeah,
considering
we
after
have-
pandemic person, people are making more health conscious actually. That's another reason where people are getting diverted to yoga and your recreational activities more nowadays. If you have seen the shift, which is good for overall as well. But
Yes, sir. We have another question saying to start a sports academy, what are the legal documentations and permissions required? So are you aware?
That's actually a bigger discussion and topic. When we say we have to basically start with 2 directors and all committee members. If you want to form a NGO, then there's a different guidelines by the government. Where you have to have 5 committee members and subcommittees has to be created, and the whole then.
So
the
they
whole,
are
at
talking
least 3 years or
about,
2 years.
sir, they're talking about a sports academy rather than an NGO, probably, I think. It's a sports academy. So if you want to start it, what legal documentations or permissions are going to be required?
Not to be really frank, not much expert in that in terms of talking about legal documentation. But whatever I understand, we start up any club or academy, have a current account and basic stuff, and you have to register your name, if at all, which is if at all it is not it should not be obvious is another name for a club. The basic things I know, but to be really frank, not an expert in terms of legal procedures of any formation of a club. For that.
Yeah, we are going to be having a speaker tomorrow who is going to be slightly touching up on this process. The second lecture, what we have is going to be talking on sports law and a few player managements also. So probably sir might touch up more on it. So I'm very thankful to you, Ruturaj sir, for sharing your experiences and giving us a lot of, we can say, information and knowledge about organizing competitions and events. We will now end the session for today. I am again thankful to you and all
It's a
the
pleasure.
participants who are present here. I have already shared a feedback form for today's 2 sessions. I'm sharing it back again. So I hope you share your views or whatever suggestions you have regarding today's speakers and today's full program. And we would always feel that if you are too frank or truthful regarding the feedback, it will help us to still improve in our organizing part. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, Ruturaj sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Again, hopefully, we will cross paths someday for sure. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.